with Georgie Gardner.
Good evening. America's week of terror and uncertainty has come to a dramatic conclusion in the backyard of a suburban home in Boston. Hiding inside a boat was the second marathon bombing suspect, hours after the first suspect was shot dead by police. From Boston to London and Sydney, our reporters have extensive coverage of the terrorist threat and the frantic investigation that put an end to an American nightmare.
Good work, guys.
Here, they call them Boston's finest, the police, the first responders who had got their man.
Thank you.
Residents who had spent all day locked indoors reclaimed the streets.
You have tears in your eyes.
Tears of joy.
America's most wanted, captured alive and taken out in the back of an ambulance. The Commander-in-Chief had promised action, guaranteed justice. So it was a relieved president who addressed the nation.
All in all, this has been a tough week. But we've seen the character of our country once more. And as president, I'm confident that we have the courage and the resilience and the spirit to overcome these challenges and to go forward as one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
5 days ago, this tough, proud city became yet another American target. 3 lives lost, almost 200 injured, and the bombers somewhere in the crowd. But with the images released to the public, a police force of thousands became millions.
I want to also just thank all of the members of the public for their extraordinary patience, their participation in this investigation. It's a night where I think we're all going to rest easy.
The breakthrough came just hours after those images hit every TV network in the country. The youngest, Jahar, caught on the surveillance video of a 7-Eleven in the Boston suburb of Cambridge. Soon after, a shootout at the nearby university campus, MIT, that left 1 policeman dead. The 2 men then carjacked a Mercedes and led police on a chaotic chase to the neighbouring suburb of Watertown.
There's definitely hand grenades and automatic gunfire.
During the high-speed chase, the 2 men firing at police and throwing explosives from the moving car. It ended with a shootout in a residential street.
In the exchange of the gunfire, we believe that one of the suspects was struck.
Cornered and out of options, the older brother got out, started shooting and walked straight towards police. But he was struck with more than a dozen bullets. 1 officer seriously injured in the gun battle. In the confusion, the younger brother slipped away, reversing the car over his brother's body, scattering a line of police to eventually get away. What followed was a manhunt on an unprecedented scale. Police locked down a 20-block radius and went door to door, yard to yard.
We believe this to be a terrorist. We believe this to be a man who's come here to kill people. We need to get him in custody.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to back up. Everybody has to back up. Everybody off this street right now. Let's go.
By daylight, there was still no sign of Jahar, so the lockdown was expanded to cover all of Boston. Millions of people told to stay inside and lock their doors. It emptied the streets, left no room for their suspect to hide or blend in. Because we're in the suburb where the bombers live, this alert has just come to every mobile phone in the area. It's asking people to shelter in place, basically stay inside your home. The city's transport system also brought to a standstill. Schools stayed shut. Government offices empty. Baseball and hockey games were cancelled. A city of 4.5 million people, a virtual ghost town. Throughout the day, police continued to scour the homes of Watertown. With reports that the suspect may have a suicide vest and he's obviously armed, you can see just how serious they're taking it. This has essentially turned into a military operation, methodically going from house to house. One resident capturing the police search.
Police, anyone in there?
Home after home, searched and cleared. But as the day wore on, it looked like the 19-year-old had slipped the net. No capture, not even a sighting.
We do not have an apprehension of our suspect this afternoon, but we will have one.
But just 1 hour later, a breakthrough. Half a dozen shots just behind the police cordon as we were live on air.
People are saying that they've got him, but only because they've heard gunfire.
A tip-off to police that the injured suspect, seen here, was hiding in a boat. It was covered with plastic and in the backyard of a home that had already been searched.
He then opened a tarp on the top of the boat, and he looked in and saw a man covered with blood. He retreated and called us. We set up a perimeter around that boat, and over the course of the next hour or so, we exchanged gunfire with the suspect who was inside the boat.
Police sent in a robot, warned him to give up, and finally, he was taken alive. Seriously injured from a gun battle with police, he was rushed to hospital. First confirmation came via Twitter. Captured, the hunt is over, suspect in custody.
This was truly an absolutely intense investigation. Justice is being served for the victims of these terrible crimes.
Before he was even wheeled into the emergency room, the city was celebrating.
We are eternally grateful for the outcome here tonight. We have a suspect in custody. We're exhausted, folks, but we have a victory here tonight. But let's not forget those people along the way.
The shock of the attack became the fear of the unknown, which expanded the damage from one street to an entire city.
Boston is just such a tough town, man. We adversity comes our way, we'll take it, we'll get knocked down, but we'll get back up and we'll keep rolling.
Now, the focus for authorities unravelling why they did it, understanding how and who knew.
This investigation will continue, so we will not be able to provide the details that you may want at this time, but as the days continue, you will get answers to those questions.
Those questions will come tomorrow. Tonight, just relief.
Well, Denham Hitchcock joins us now from Watertown. And Denham, that arrest was so dramatic and, of course, happened just a couple of blocks from where you were standing. And the reaction from people there was overwhelming, wasn't it? It was impassioned.
Yeah, it was a little overwhelming, certainly in that spot, for sure. And I've got to say, for me at least, it was kind of unexpected. But these people have been kept inside their own homes for around 24 hours, and that was a deliberate tactic. It meant not only were they safe, but it also meant if the suspect went out on the streets, the trains, the buses, the taxis, he would be spotted, especially in those suburbs. So when the news came through that he was caught, it brought an immense amount of relief. People have been beeping their horns all night. The pubs are all full here. And I think a lot of it has got to do probably with a fear hangover that still hangs here since September 11.
So, Denham, the suspect, of course, is captured. Where to now?
Well, once he's well enough in hospital, there'll be an arraignment, a preliminary hearing, and then, of course, a grand jury. But I don't think, Georgie, anyone will get the answers that'll be satisfactory to explain what he did, what he did. And they probably won't get the outcome they're after here. Massachusetts does not have the death penalty.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Denham Hitchcock, thank you.